Hi, I'm Owen Casey Stevens, and this is the story of how I learned the power of being polite. When I was in my late teens, my sister graduated from college, and my family took what turned out to be our last big family trip, which included a train trip through the Canadian Rocky Mountains. This was supposed to be, I believe, 3 days, 2 nights. It was going to be a nice trip. We all had those little benches that fold down so that you can sleep in them with a big thick curtain. It was fun. The problem is there was significant flooding. I mean, flooding so bad that during some points of the trip we looked out the window and we saw the top of telephone poles sticking out what appeared to be lakes. So we ended up with a full additional day, maybe a day and a half on our trip, as we had to take a longer route that was expected. Now that was fine, except that not everyone had brought that many sets of clothing. The food car did not have enough of everything it needed to do that, and people started to get grumpy and run out of things. The morning of the last day, I woke up before anyone else in my family, and I decided to go down to the dining car and have some breakfast. And they were out of orange juice, and they were out of soda, and they were out of tea, so I asked if I could have coffee. Now, I did not normally drink coffee. I had never lived in Seattle at that point. But I did discover that if I mixed a goodly amount of sugar and cream in my coffee, it was palatable and something I could drink. But it came in a little tiny coffee cup, and I was going through a fair amount of it because I was eating a fairly large breakfast. And I noticed that people were kind of yelling at the waitresses fairly often, and the waitresses were doing their best to serve everybody, but they were out of a lot of things. They didn't have eggs, they didn't have toast. Um, and when I wanted to refill, I was having some trouble getting a hold of the waitress, and I didn't want to be a dick about it. They were doing their very best. So at one moment, when she paused near me, I said, "Ma'am, when you get a moment, I know that you're busy, I'd appreciate a refill on my coffee." And the woman stood and looked at me and blinked a few times, and then gave me a great big smile and said, "Well, I'll get you your coffee right now." And she walked past everyone who was yelling and screaming and wanted something that she didn't have, got a big thing of coffee, brought it down, filled it only halfway up because she noticed I put a lot of cream in it, smiled, asked if I needed anything else. I said no, and she went on her merry way. And after that, every 10 minutes, this nice lady came by and asked if I needed more coffee. And when I did, she had the coffee pot in hand and would refill my cup. Now, this made a lot of people in the dining car very upset, and there was more grousing and a little yelling and some arm waving. But she largely ignored them. And to be honest, I largely ignored them, because there was nothing that could be done about being out of eggs and juice and soda. We're on a train. We're moving at 40, 50 miles an hour through the Rockies next to vast sections of flooding. The woman can't run out, grab an orange off a passing tree, and squeeze it just for some customer that really wants orange juice. It's just not going to happen. And for the rest of that day, even when the rest of my family came and we all had lunch, we got amazing service from all the waitresses, based purely on the fact that I had been very polite, I had asked nicely when she had a chance if she could help, and when the meal was over, I tipped well. That lesson has stuck with me my entire life. You sometimes have to raise your voice, but for the most part, there's nothing that these people can do, and you're not going to get anywhere by screaming at them. And that has led to me having a goodly number more good times.